Jason from techAU here to review the latest generation of the Apple TV. This is reportedly Apple's experiment in the living room, so let's check it out and see what's on offer. To kick it off, you'll see the interface is made up of movies at the top, while we have movies selected, and you can rent or purchase some of these movies. You can preview or see the prices, $6.99 for the HD version, or to buy it outright in this instance is $29.99. And the quality is fantastic. If you're happy with those prices and happy to purchase through Apple, then it's a good way to obtain movies over the IP connection in your house. Flip over to TV shows, and you'll see we've got Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, True Blood, all the most popular shows. Your favourite one may or may not be there, depending on catalogue selection, but this is iTunes content, so the catalogue is pretty well flushed out. So let's take an Australian title like Underbelly. You'll see the price of each episode is $3.49, so it's not something I would be purchasing. That's an incredible price for staying up to date with essentially what's available for free on free-to-air television. You can, however, buy a season pass for $26.99, but you know, you got to compare that with the prices of a DVD. Season DVDs of TV shows are going for $20 or less these days. Kick it over music and let's check out iTunes Match. So the only way to access music is if you've got another computer in your house running iTunes and sharing out that content. So I happen to have a home server with a bunch of music on, and I can't actually play it because it doesn't run iTunes. The other issue is that I've moved to subscription-based music. So I use Spotify, and Apple TV, of course, does not support streaming music. So the music app on Apple TV is essentially useless to me. Home sharing is nice. Share content from a computer. So if you're sitting on your couch with a Mac in front of you, you can share content from that computer, or maybe you got one in your study or spare room. You can share content out. Jump into the settings and you'll see we've got some options like naming and so the network, connect to Wi-Fi. The keyboard when you are connecting to a Wi-Fi network is a little painful. So if we go to, that's okay in the IP settings, but if we go to join a different network, navigating this with the control is actually quite painful. So what you'll do quite quickly is fire up any iOS device that you have in your possession and download the remote app from Apple, and you'll be able to control your Apple TV using that. Using gestures on your smartphone or tablet, you'll be able to control the Apple TV. All this sort of nice standard screensaver options and that sort of stuff. iTunes Store login, audio and video settings, AirPlay is really neat, and we'll have a look at that from Mountain Lion in a second. And of course you can go in here and turn it to sleep, and that's really what you will need to get familiar with. There's a new app in here called iTunes Festival, so let's fire that up. So this is all about special events, when your favourite artists are having events, and I don't mind deadmau5, so let's check out what he's up to. So 6 AM, 3:45. So on those dates you can come in here and check out what your artists are doing. It's actually a quite neat app. They are pay-per-view, by the way. MLB.TV, NHL, those apps are basically useless. So add a grid of 16 icons now. We've essentially got a few that, including music in this, a few that aren't something I will go into. Trailers are essentially what you can get from YouTube/trailers as well, or apple.com/trailers. Available in HD is pretty standard, and trailers are available in plenty of places these days. YouTube, pretty much exactly as you'd expect. All the common features of featured videos and most viewed, and then you can log in and see your own videos. But you get this cover art style, covers moving past on each one of those options. So Moving on from YouTube to Vimeo, essentially the competitor. Basically the same situation, the Apple style layout is the same, so these providers don't get to customize that. Sign into your account and you can do the same sorts of things. Podcast is neat. You can search for your favorite podcast or just have a look at the top charts. So at the top here we've got audio, video and all, so if you don't care what it is. But obviously one of the huge advantages of an Apple TV is displaying it on your TV, so the video version is something I like to check out. So let's fire up TED Talks. I'm on an ADSL2 connection at the moment, so let's have a look how fast this loads. We'll play. And of course, once this loads, it'll play this standard TED intro.
I worked on a film called Apollo 13, and
so it wasn't too bad. Pretty good quality, and great to be able to access content like TED from your couch. Radio, if you did want to listen, then there's a lot of different stations you can go through. I won't go through each one of these, but the genre cover art's quite nice, very similar to what you'd find in iTunes essentially. That's what Apple TV is really all about, people who live and breathe iTunes. I won't set up a photo stream now. People who live and breathe iTunes, they can access their content from their TV. Now if you live outside that world, then you may have some issues. Let me search for, I don't know. So Flickr's not the fastest app in the world, but it does bring in, you can search Flickr's huge catalogue and then play slideshows and stuff out of that. So also use that content as a screensaver. And the last one's Wall Street Journal, another US based app. So there's no Australian contextualization for this, it's just the same experience no matter where you are in the world. So AirPlay works quite well on the Apple TV. Whenever we're launching applications, it's going to be displaying just like a clone screen, and of course this is a MacBook Air with no cables attached at all, so all done wirelessly, just as technology should do in 2012. So AirPlay with Mountain Lion is a huge feature of Apple TV, and one that I love and enjoy using. That's it, that's my walkthrough of Apple TV, and it really does feel like an experiment in that, there's no app stores, no customization, expansion, very un-Apple in a lot of ways, and music is probably one of my biggest complaints is that we've moved on, a lot of us, to subscription services, and essentially this music icon is pretty much useless. Movies, there's no subscription service, or TV shows, same deal. You can subscribe, but the prices aren't conducive to something that people would generally use. So a few issues here. It's a nice interface, it's fast, it's an Apple-like experience, but I just very quickly hit the point where I felt that I had explored everything that Apple TV had to offer, and in a device that costs just over $100, it's probably lacking in a fair few features that other devices, competitors like the Boxy Box, a little more expensive, but has a huge range of features, and can certainly stream more local content from anywhere around your home, any device, and also has that app ecosystem that's really missing from this right now. So that's my review of the Apple TV.